Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Manny. I'm a part of eDynamics Digital Solutions team. I'll be the webinar's moderator today. Welcome to our webinar, Engagement Strategies for Law Firms to Compete in the Age of the Client. Today, I'm accompanied by Shad Alam. He is the presenter for the webinar. Shad is our senior digital consultant for legal practices. He works with marketers and technologists in professional services firms, especially law firms, helping them realize the true potential of their digital technology investments and deliver great customer experience. During this webinar, if you have any questions, thoughts, please share it with us and we will try to cover them at the end of this session in real time. With that, I will let Shad lead this further. Over to you, Shad.
Hey, thank you, Manny. Great. Looks like we have a full house. Awesome. So I hope you're able to see my screen. Okay, great. Hey, everyone. My name is Shad. I've been with eDynamics 6 years now and work very closely with law firms helping clients deliver great customer experiences. Today, uh, we're looking to discuss engagement strategies that firms can deploy to compete in this area where the client is in complete control, and what we refer to as the age of the client. Uh, we have deep focus on the professional services and legal space, and over the last 7 years, we've been privy to and part of the digital transformation in numerous firms, including six of the AmLaw top 20 and several mid and small size firms. Therefore, most of what you will hear today is a result of our experience over the years. I hope and wish you would leave the session more aware and better informed of strategies you can deploy to improve client engagement. Right. Right. So we believe that customer experience really is the new battleground, and that is substantiated by research from the likes of Gartner and Forrester. Customer experience leaders really outperform laggards by double digits. A Forrester study suggests that 89% of businesses realize that customer experience will be the basis of competition and actually the battlefield online. Experts suggest that firms that understand their customers, their needs, and traits best, the ones that understand how their clients engage with them and are able to orchestrate the customer journey and deliver tailored and relevant experiences, really stay ahead of competition. So let's take a look at who your client really is today, right? Your client is one that is really better informed with huge amounts of data available to fuel their research. Literally inundated with tons of data, their options are not limited, and thus it is up to you as a professional service provider to stay ahead of competition by delivering content and experience relevant to your client. So they are really in the driving seat, if you will, and therefore in complete control to decide when, where, and how they will engage with you. Thus, they initiate and tend to drive the buying process. The, the, con- the confirmed word of mouth recommendation with online research and go to the extent of leveraging social media for research. Right. So really, if you take a look at the journey that your client goes through in their buying cycle, you would see that in their quest for a service provider, what are those things that your prospect is really looking for? They want to know three things. Do you understand my business? Have you worked with similar businesses or people, or have you solved similar challenges to the ones that I have? And third, can I work with you, or do you have the people, processes, and expertise to cater to my needs? So, really, from the web to email and social to video, law firm marketers need to develop tools and outreach strategies to offer relevant, consistent information to clients based on their needs as they go through their daily lives. Uh, and superior client engagement seeks to really engage the client through the buying life cycle and across all touch points, including your web, mobile, email, social, etc., with relevant information. This needs to be driven by measurable insights around client behavior, enabled by marketing technology that is integrated, banning data silos, and making it available in a cohesive format that is comprehensible and actionable. So let's take a look at the marketing maturity curve in legal firms over the years. Um, we've seen that between 95 and 2005, it was really technology led. Between 2005 and 15, we saw some transformation happening from IT led to marketing driven, informational marketing. And then 2015-16 onwards is when we really saw the transformation happen to the digital client engagement. So even today, there are a lot of law firms that really need to move up the marketing maturity curve to enable seamless and meaningful client engagement in the age of the client. So brands, law firm brands should differentiate your firm and position your content and offerings in a more meaningful manner. Relevancy, of course, is key. Content should be strategically aligned to client needs and delivered across channels wherever your clients prefer to engage, be it any of the channels, could be your website, your email channel, etc. And the idea is really to build relationships with clients by creating mind share with relevant content and thought leadership marketing. Strengthen and nurture these relationships with thought leadership and gradually move the needle towards client acquisition. So now we're going to take a look at the engagement strategies that we spoke about. So based on our work with law firms, we've really chalked out a 7-step approach, if you will. We call them the 7 client engagement strategies that we have, and that's the list over here. So we'll go through them one by one, um, and and uh, and we'll try to explain our context and how law firms can really utilize these to create client engagement. So the first one being mapping the buying life cycle and contextual experience. So to understand the buying life cycle and to create contextual experiences, marketers need to get into the customer's shoes and think from their point of view. Stats by research companies like McKinsey indicate 50% of marketing expense is not aligned with client needs within their decision process. And it further explains that it's not enough to identify the decision makers in an organization. For marketing and business development activities to be effective, companies need to focus on those points in the decision journey where they can be most successful in influencing those decision makers. So what does this decision journey or the buying cycle really look like? Let's try to understand the buying cycle. Traditionally, firms have been focused on the selling process rather than the buying process. They think about how to sell to prospects or acquire clients. This approach needs to really change. From the point of identifying a need to making a purchase decision, clients typically pass through the following phases. Identification, where they create a preliminary list of potential firms based on their research of the firm's services, experience, etc. The qualification phase, where they engage with potential firms to evaluate further based on their success stories, client references, working methods, etc., and create a short list of potential. And eventually, the selection phase, where they meet the shortlisted firms to determine the best fit firm to work with and select the final one they intend to work with, right? So, so that's the buying process, and this here is really the firm's business development or selling process, right? In contrast to the traditional sales push, firms now really need to think about how to connect with your clients as they move through their own journey. You want to understand how to pinpoint thought leadership material to entice them to walk through the journey with your firm and position yourself as the one ideally suited to meet their needs. Law firm marketers and business development people need to match their activities with the client's buying cycle and engage them appropriately at each stage in the cycle. So the marketing process should really tightly integrate with the client's buying process. Marketing activities that aim to create awareness about your firm's services should coincide with the identification stage so that potential clients become aware of your services, expertise, and experience and identify your firm as a potential. Next, firms need to keep clients engaged with relevant content and thought leadership during the qualification stage and aim at building relationships. Plan and execute marketing events to maybe allow potential clients the opportunity to interact with your firm and perhaps with your clients who would obviously recommend you. Seize this opportunity to talk to prospects about their issues and challenges and talk about potential solutions that you may have offered to other clients in a similar situation. Then, based on your understanding of the client, their requirements, challenges, etc., gained through engaging with them, business development should shape offerings and tailor proposals, contract terms, pricing, etc., to really enable and guide clients through the selection process. Once you've understood this, you would want to map an engagement strategy to foster relationships between your clients or your prospects and your attorneys, right? This process involves the use of thought leadership and other targeted content to reach out to clients with relevant material across channels and devices. So we'll take a look at what um, uh, a tool really looks like, right? So this is a content mapping tool that we use for our clients. Now, to begin with, firms need to segment their content and deliver it to prospects based on where they are in the buying life cycle. Here's the buying life cycle tool that we use, right? It is used to map buyer's journey along with criteria across each stage in the life cycle. This aims to create an end-to-end experience that touches your prospects and clients across segments at nearly every point in their day, on every device that they use, and at every stage of their buying cycle. So you may want to think about ways you can leverage your online tools to focus on the buyer and their needs. Clients really want to be able to use the channel convenient to the moment, right? Whether it's a website, maybe they would want to pick up the phone and call a captive team or a call center or a video chat with a live expert for minor issues, etc. And next, it's really imperative to understand what your prospects really value, right? Remember, whatever content experiences you deliver to your clients needs to be contextual and should meet their expectations. It should be able to impress on your client that you have context of the situation your client is in, right? Context can be gathered in a few ways. You may use your prospect's implicit digital footprint they leave behind every time they try to engage with you online, or use third-party provided data services like demand base, etc. Having context will enable you to personalize both the content that you're delivering as well as the the experiences that your client will have. So let's take a look at really how we can enable contextual experiences and personalized messaging, right? Our endeavor is to really deliver the right message at the right time to the right people and on the right device. So when you personalize, you connect, and more importantly, you give your prospect the impression that you understand where they're at, right? Survey reveals that 54% of marketers generated positive ROI within months of implementing web personalization. Personalized websites deliver effectively the right message to the right person and at the right time and on the right device, and is a critical differentiating factor on today's websites. Unfortunately, many marketers do not understand how to affect personalization. So let's take a look at how we can really um, start affecting personalization, not just through your website, but also across channels, right? Personalization can be done once you understand your client, their needs, their footprint, how they found you, what channels they used to come to you, whether they looked you up on Google or were you recommended by someone through someone to them, what they were looking at on your site, at what stage they are in the buying cycle, et cetera, et cetera, right? So all of that fuels how people can really come to you. And we really want to take a look, halt over here and take a look at examples of some personalized information, right? So what you see over here is is an example of a personalized site. This site is it's one of our clients that personalizes its site based on where people are coming from. So if people are coming to the site from the West Coast, they would show people relevant to West Coast, people who are working off of their offices on West Coast. Similarly, if they're coming from somewhere in the East Coast, they would show the same homepage would show people and content that's relevant to their geography, right? Examples of good personalized information may include offering location-based material that is relevant to your geography, personalizing some content or imagery by industry, or recognizing if your visitor is a new or returning visitor. For inspiration, you can look at examples from software companies as they're really leading the charge into personalization. So with that, we proceed to the next engagement strategy, which is about content marketing and how it really helps nurture, right? So now comes a really important question. Of all the leads that come to you, are all of them ready to begin working with you immediately? What do you do with them? And how can you prevent them from falling through the cracks? So, of all the leads that you receive, over 70% of these leads may be categorized as not ready to buy or hire immediately, right? They may have needs that will mature maybe in the near future, may take about 6 to 12 months or more to get to a stage when they may want to connect with you or evaluate your offer. Most prospects, from consideration to commitment, and more importantly, managing them and staying engaged in between, is the most important role of marketing or business development teams. You need to think about how you cultivate your relationships using lead nurturing. An automated lead nurturing process linked to your content distribution strategy is the answer. Once you have pulled in good leads at the top of your funnel, you want to make sure to consistently nurture them through the buying process by consistently delivering relevant quality content over time. And between the phases of consideration and commitment, law firms continuously need to engage with prospects with relevant content delivered across channels and create value for themselves in the eyes of the prospect. In return, the prospect would start trusting the firm and gradually give out more information about themselves and their situation, challenges, and needs, which would enable law firm marketers to further personalize experiences and stay relevant. Thus, the firm and prospect exchange mutual value for each other. So, thought leadership, when developed and delivered in a meaningful manner, be it any form of thought leadership, it could be white papers, webinars, maybe content that's put out through events or even blogs or videos. If they're done in a meaningful manner, they tend to guide prospects through the buying process, and that leads to client acquisition, right? Here, consulting firms really seem to be leading the charge and setting benchmarks. McKinsey and Accenture make benchmark examples when it comes to keeping prospects engaged with thought leadership and position the brand effectively. So, what are the different types of content that we can use? Firms really should invest in creating several different types of content based on user preferences and their appetite to consume content. There are many different types of prospects, and each one will want to consume information in their own different way. So it's important for law firm marketers to develop thought leadership in multiple formats to ensure that you reach your prospect at every stage of their decision making process. Also, you should have a mix of both freely available and gated content housed maybe behind a lead form to make sure you're both drawing your audience in and also using lead generation forms to fulfill your business development goals. So here's a part of the strategy of content creation and dispersal that eDynamic pioneered. So to maximize your content's visibility, we recommend adopting a COP or a COPE strategy, which is essentially create once and publish everywhere for your content distribution, right? There are a variety of channels to consider in this outreach strategy, as highlighted in the graphic over here. So you can use any one of these channels ranging from online news sites, databases, to media outlets, search engines. Videos tend to be garnering a lot of attention these days, blogs, mobile, etc. In addition to publishing content on your website and pushing it out through email, social, etc., firms should also adopt a content syndication strategy to push your thought leadership, blogs, articles, videos, or any piece of web-based content out to third parties who would then republish it on their own sites. This is done with a view to reach a much larger audience. For example, you could publish your blogs on LinkedIn, place paid ads that would point people back to content on your site, etc. So that brings us to our third strategy, which is about creating a multi-channel and a multi-device experience, right? Most law firm marketers understand that cross-channel marketing is important for their business, but very few are really prepared and empowered to execute. Right? Marketers tend to think about channels as a means of pushing out content. These could be across web, mobile, social, emails, etc. They think about engagement in terms of the hits and attention their content gets across these channels, but they tend to forget the buyer's perspective. So we need to take a look at the buyer's perspective, where they are in their daily lives when they're trying to engage with you across all these different channels. So in addition to developing exceptional content, you also need to pay attention to how your reader will consume this material that you're creating. Remember, today's buyer is driving their online experience. They are really in the driving seat. They decide where and how they will engage with you. They read and absorb your content. It's all their decision, right? So we need to make sure you meet your clients where they live and promote your content on key channels, including email, social media, your website, co-marketing, partner sites, etc., etc. So most marketing organizations invest in online channels, including the web, email, social, SEO, etc. But what channels does your firm market through? That's a question that really needs to be asked. Your clients decide where they will engage with you. You must be where they will engage with you most and invest in those channels, be it your web, email, social, mobile, or others. You must meet your clients' expectations in terms of channels as well as the experience that they expect from you. Your clients are setting benchmarks, drawing majorly from two different types of experiences. Number one being the experience that they have with their own brand, and number two, the experience they have with brands of other service providers such as yourself or your competitors. So, though you need to deliver experiences through multiple channels and these experiences should be seamless and unbroken, your website and mobile site, whether responsive or otherwise, should present a similar experience. It should reflect a single cohesive brand. This is best approached using responsive design where your website adapts to any device or screen size. And this is just an example. and they render on without affecting any change in the actual design or the brand experience. So responsive design is just one experience of unbroken um, uh, content and experience delivered to clients. So common challenges that plague the law firm marketer relate to being available to your clients across channels and devices, visibility of engagement across channels, and outdated technology that is still difficult to integrate and cannot be operated without regular IT intervention, right? Therefore, it's important that marketers understand where their audience wants to engage with them. Your website and content need to be optimized for all device types. You should be enabled to gather analytics and insights from across all these channels and be able to see engagement holistically by client rather than by channel. With that, we come to our fourth engagement strategy, which points to social engagement. Now, a lot of law firms have really started to use social in a large way these days. And firms use social to engage with their clients, stay top of mind, etc. We've seen that LinkedIn happens to be the most preferred mode of social engagement among law firms. So, what we really need to do is we need to understand how we can really engage with social, right? I mean, of course, everything starts with being able with listening. You need to be able to listen and understand what your who your buyer is, what they need, what their needs and preferences are, how they want to engage with you, and so on. And then you need to devise a strategy as to how you would engage with social with these clients. So a few things that we've enumerated over here are saying hello. So if you're not within that person's network, start by making a connection, introduce yourself. If someone writes a post about an experience they've had or shared a white paper or some interesting news, maybe make a comment about it or repost the item, referencing them as the author. And a more effective way is if you notice a common interest detailed in the person's profile, try asking questions related to that interest. If someone publishes a report on your practice area, maybe ask them about some of the data points that are of most interest to you. Right. So what we've seen is, and this is according to a study by Social Media Monthly, law firms have seen a huge increase in using Facebook and LinkedIn engagement, almost to the tune of 41 to 67%, and that's this the amount of increase in Facebook and LinkedIn acquisitions, right? So they've been able to boost acquisitions to the extent of 41 to 67% using Facebook and LinkedIn. That brings us to our seventh engagement strategy, which is about measuring engagement. And this is a really critical strategy. So, how do you start measuring engagement, right? Um, does measuring vanity metrics give you a true measure of your client engagement? Are footfalls, page views, hits, um, and all that needs monitoring? Do you measure real client? How do you really measure real client engagement? Let's discuss that. So firms need to measure how digital is helping clients engage more with the firm and creating new opportunities. Here's a snapshot of what metrics will help you measure client engagement. So, time spent on site. What kind of time are your prospects spending on your site? What is their frequency of visits? Are they returning frequently? What kind of actions are they taking while they're on your site? Are they clicking on CDA buttons? Are they landing on to event pages, looking at thought leadership put out by your thought leaders or attorneys, and how are they really engaging with critical content, right? And of course, there are a few other things that we need to look at. So beyond web analytics, firms need to move and identify leads at critical stages in the buying lifecycle to really enable them to engage in a more meaningful manner, right? So taking a step back, I mean, apart from these metrics, we also law firms also need to be able to understand what kind of leads they're getting and be able to identify them in the at what point they are in the buyer journey, right? Firms or marketers be able to understand what leads are at the initial stages in the buying cycle and need to be targeted with content that will generate interest, which ones are midway in the buying cycle, and thus marketing needs to keep them engaged with relevant content with a focus on relationship building, and which ones are hot and ready to receive an offer or be contacted by your business development folks with a proposal. So here we talk about a lead scoring model. So firms really need to set up a scoring model for leads to gauge their maturity level in the buying lifecycle. Leads need to be scored using explicit and implicit data. Explicit relates to their profile, geography, organization, etc., while implicit data relates to details about their online activity, content browsed, search criteria, etc. So this scoring model should indicate what leads need to be nurtured further, which ones are ready to be contacted by the business development team, etc. The image that you see over here is a sample scoring model where the profile score B1 indicates that the lead is a good fit, ready to enter into business discussion, and can be contacted by a business development person. So the scoring model should empower the business development team, but the what you see over here is an image or an illustration that shows a sample dashboard for the business development team to understand which leads are super interested, signified by the number of light bulbs here against each one, and also how far along are they in their buying journey, indicated by the number of chilies against each one of them. So a single chili would signify lower interest rate, and maybe three chilies would signify a higher rate of interest. With that, we come to the sixth strategy in our engagement quiver. So we're going to talk about technology that enables marketers and law firms to engage with their audiences. So technology really should empower marketing in a way that it's easy to use, and it should facilitate engagement. From our work with law firms thus far, we've seen that there are major challenges with marketing technology platforms around complexity, ease of use, and high dependency on internal IT. The expanse of the digital technology that marketers see could utterly confuse them. With too many options to choose from, selecting technology is nothing less than a daunting task for legal marketers. So, what are those considerations that marketers can make or law firms can make, and what are those must-haves that need to be a part of your marketing technology arsenal that you would use or utilize to engage with your clients? So, even within the extremely crowded digital technology landscape with literally hundreds, if not thousands of options, some technologies are an absolute must-have for legal firms. So technologies such as a contemporary content management system that enables marketers to manage content on their website and supports capabilities like personalization, etc. Analytics should be set up to enable marketers to gather insights around user behavior, marketing asset performance, client engagement, etc. faceted search with auto-suggest and autocomplete capabilities that enable users to locate information with ease, email and marketing automation that enable automated delivery of targeted content, and multi-touch campaigns that can be set up to engage with prospects at every stage in the buying process without manual intervention. CRM that can house all your customer data and provide an accumulated view of the sum of all client interactions. And now social tools that enable you to listen into what clients, prospects are saying about you in public and how it's really impacting your brand. So firms really need to start with technology platforms, right? The CMS, the marketing automation, or the email marketing platform, the CRM, and next, sharing a common view of the lead and how they can move across channels requires integration of these platforms and the coming together and the syncing of these platforms. There needs to be an engagement strategy formulated and implemented to drive content personalization and relevance. Integration between the CMS, marketing automation platform, and CRM will enable the creation of centralized buyer profiles that could then be mapped to a defined buying process, and implementation of dashboards, reports, and measuring tools necessary to support ongoing performance measurement and management. So those are some of the technologies and the ways they could be used. So that brings us to the last and the seventh strategy in our quiver, which is really being able to create a single view of the customer across all channels. So 90% of customers say single view of the customer is essential to cross-channel success, and that's revealed by a Signal report. So what really is a single view of the customer? So let's take a look at a at a unified customer experience platform, if you will, that's shown over here. So throughout the buying lifecycle, your prospect is engaging with you across a variety of channels and devices. It is true that no single technology by itself can provide a 360-degree view of the customer. So an integrated customer experience platform will empower marketing. So what really is an integrated customer experience platform? So an integrated customer experience platform, or the CXP, is what helps you orchestrate experiences across every channel and tools and platforms within your marketing technology ecosystem. When all of these technologies and tools are integrated and when they work in sync, the CMS, the marketing automation tool, and the CRM should be connected and automated to enable rules-based personalization, such that when a prospect views a piece of content, and this is just an example that I'm giving, that when a prospect views a piece of content X on your site, the marketing automation platform should trigger an automatic email to the prospect with content related to X. Similarly, when a prospect receives an email communication from your firm related to a topic Y, he clicks on a link in the email and lands onto one of your landing pages or back onto your site. The homepage should be personalized to show content related to the topic Y, right? So it should work both ways. All these interactions should find their way into the CRM platform finally. And analytics should provide actionable insights into client engagement. So armed with all these insights, you can further refine and optimize customer experience and create deeper engagement with with your client and build on your relationships, right? So to facilitate a single view of the customer, or the SVC, once your marketing technologies are integrated and are performing in cohesion, you can bring engagement data from all channels to one place to create what we call a single view of the customer. This view can be created within your web content management system, or even your marketing automation tool, or even as a separate dashboard, if you will. So it's mostly client dependent. So that brings us to the end of the presentation. To sum it up, these 7 strategies will really enable you to deliver great customer experience that will drive engagement with prospects and enable you to build deeper relationships with your clients, right? Um, so, so, um, so yeah, that's the end of the slides that I have. Uh, and now what we'll do is we'll open it up for discussions and questions if you have any. Manny, do we have any questions?
Thank you so much for that insight, Sad. Uh, it looks like we have a few questions here from our attendees. Our first question is, uh, we have Drupal for our CMS, Vuture for emails, and interaction for our CRM. Can we integrate or create a single view of our customer here?
Oh, of course,
Oh, of
yeah.
course, yeah.
You can certainly do that. So if you have Drupal and Vuture, and I believe it was Interaction, um, Vuture and Interaction have a ready-to-go integration between them offered by Interaction or LexisNexis, and we've created a connector between Drupal and Vuture and Drupal and Interaction, which could facilitate a three-way connection between these systems and enable you to form an integrated customer experience platform, and you could also set up a single view of the customer through that. I hope that answers.
Yeah. Thanks. Uh, I'll just go for one last question. So we have a limited time here. So our last question would be, do you have a process for helping clients create personalization?
I didn't get that last part. What was it? Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
so no worries. So our last question is, do you have a process for helping clients create personalization?
Oh, yes, of
Oh,
course.
yes.
We do have a process around helping clients create personalization. So it really depends on your on the kind of marketing strategy and the outreach strategy you have, and the tools and technologies in your marketing technology arsenal. But what we do is we help our clients really uh, engaged in a personalized manner with their clients, and for that we have a workshop that we do, which is called a business of experience workshop. In this workshop, what we endeavor to do is really map out client journeys, how existing clients came to you, how prospects are behaving with you, on what channels they engage with you most, and we try to map out a journey and build a roadmap and try to help you get the most out of your investments into marketing technology. This is a 30-day process. The workshop takes about a week or maybe less, depending upon your requirements. But yeah, it's a 30 days result oriented guaranteed process that we offer. It's a workshop that we do.
Great, thanks. Uh, we will cover one last question here. We have a couple of them. Due to time constraint, I'll just go through one last question, Shad. Uh,
Sure.
the question is, all of this information is great and would effectively enhance marketing. How do you suggest getting buy-in in the culture of a law firm that is often resistant to change? How do you suggest?
Oh, that's a great question. Of course. So we so with all the law firms that we've worked with, and we've worked with many of them of several different sizes, ranging from the AmLaw top 10 and 20s to several mid-sized firms, etc. What we do is we help our clients with the strategy to really, and we really enable marketing with the tools and tactics and the insights that they can take back to their leadership and partners and get buy-in from them. So our strategy process itself, sorry, the process itself consists of interviews and workshops with the top leadership within the firm, and we as a vendor partner, we tend to drive most of these conversations, and we've helped several of our clients detail out strategies and create roadmaps of technology adoption and how digital would look like for them in the immediate 6 months to maybe 2 years or 5 years down the line. So all of that we've been able to document. We have a full-fledged process around this. I'd be happy to send information around that. We have a customer experience technology workshop that we do for that, and that could help you. The documentation on that and the results of that workshop would eventually help you create buy-in with your firm leadership. I can help. So if you have the email ID, Manny, I could help send relevant information around that.
Absolutely, Shad. So we have the email address. I'll share with you after the webinar is over. So with that, um, we have to end the webinar due to time. Well, thank you all for joining us today. We look forward to connecting with you again. The recording for today's webinar will be available on our website within next 2 to 3 business days. We'll be sharing the webcast URL with all the attendees via email as well. Thank you once again for joining us. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.
All right.
All
Bye.
right, bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.